Hey everybody, and welcome to today's edition of Ask An Aquarius. This is Queen Osset Haru, and of course I'm making this video in beautiful Costa Rica, my new beautiful home. So, yesterday, November 13th, 2017, was World Kindness Day, and I don't remember if I had seen this before, but it became very apparent to me yesterday that it was something that our world really does need. Um, we all could stand to be a lot more kind to each other. And that's what stood out to me about World Kindness Day. So I decided that this week I would dedicate my days, my spiritual time, because I take spiritual time every day. So I would dedicate my spiritual time to kindness. And in doing so, I would work with the goddess Kuan Yin. So I decided to work with her all week and get messages from her and tap into her guidance and enlightenment. So I thought I would do this video to today's edition of Ask an Aquarius. I would explain who Quan Yin is and why I chose to work with her in relationship to kindness. Okay, so first things first, I'm sitting out here in the yard and I have my Quan Yin statue here. As you can see, a couple crystals that I associate with Quan Yin. First being selenite, which is an amplifier for anything. And of course, rose quartz. Now, I'll explain more about this now. So, I like to sit with the statue. You don't have to have anything really, but I love to sit with these items. So before I get into the items, I'm going to get into the energy, the spirit, the person, the being, the entity that is Quan Yin. Now, I'm using one of my favorite books. This is by Doreen Virtue. It's called Ascended Masters. Let me show you guys the cover. Ascended Archangels and Ascended Masters. This is what it's called. Very helpful book if you want to know about archangels and ascended masters. I've always liked Doreen's work on angels. I also use a couple of her decks too. There's been a lot of controversy about her since she made an announcement about her career path recently. But I've always found her work to be good, useful, beneficial. So I have continued to enjoy it. So here we are. So she tells us about Kuan Yin, and I've got this from her and from other sources. Kuan Yin is a goddess from Asia. We would call her a goddess. They would call her an enlightened being. She comes from Asia, mostly from what I'm understanding, the Chinese tradition. And she is the goddess of mercy and compassion and protection. I remember reading in one of the stories that her father was very cruel to her, and she constantly gave forgiveness for his behavior. And the lesson that we get from it, even though she wasn't in his life all throughout the stories, the lesson we get from it is the lesson of forgiveness, that sometimes people need forgiveness, that part of our compassion has to come out. And that it doesn't mean we have to be a part of their lives either. Yeah, like she wasn't in her father's life. But that we still forgive them and give them that compassion for whatever has caused them to be so unconscious as to be abusive. So they says that she hears all prayers from humanity. Doesn't matter what tradition, what color, what race, what creed you are. They said that she devoted herself. Instead of ascending to Buddhahood, which would have been her right, she devoted herself to helping us, those of us who had not found enlightenment, find it, use our spiritual gifts. It says get knowledge, and she wanted to help to reduce suffering that in that way. So people always associate her with the heart chakra, where our emotions, a lot of our emotions, not all of them, but a lot of our emotions lie. She's associated with the color red. And I always associate her with rose quartz because it's a heart chakra healing stone. But people have associated her with others such as turquoise. And that is Kuan Yin. So I tap into her energy when I want to deal with, these are the things that she helps with: clairvoyance, compassion, feminine grace, beauty, and power, kindness, gentleness, sweetness towards yourself and others, love, receiving and giving love, mercy, musical ability, some would also say creative abilities of all kind, protection, especially for women and children, and spiritual enlightenment and gifts. People who want to connect with Kuan Yin will often do her chant. They will chant her mantra, which is what I was doing today. Mani Padme Hum. If you Google Kuan Yin's chant, it'll most definitely come up. It means hail to the jewel in the lotus flower. So that's who she is. So, like I said before, there are lots of spirits: Buddha, Ganesha, Oset, Heru, Orisha, Oya, Oshun, Yemaya. There are all kinds of spirits that we can connect with for different things. So Kuan Yin is the spirit that I choose to connect with when it comes to this particular issue because she's particularly good at it. So the first thing that happened is, of course, I learned about her. Then I learned how to connect with her energy. So that's why I used the statue. Not that I can't connect without it, but I love to have a representation of her sitting right there smiling at me. And then I'll sit with my statue and I'll put on my flower crown or put the flower crown on the statue, whatever the case is that day. And I'll first connect with her. I connect with her usually by using this. I'll show this to you. These are beads that I like to wear. Now, sometimes you'll see people just wearing these like a necklace, or they'll be hanging in their car or something like that. But what I use this for is, I do wear it a lot when I want to connect with Quan Yin, but I also use it because each individual bead helps me keep count. Kind of like rosary beads or mala beads, I believe they're called. So basically I take it, hold it in my hand, I try to picture her, I try to focus on her, stare at her statue and connect with her energy. And then I usually have both hands to do it. I go through the beads, and for each bead I say her chant one time. So for the first one, Mane Padme Hum. Second one, Mane Padme Hum. And I just keep going through them, and I count, and I count, and I count, and eventually you end up back at the same space, and you know that you've done how many ever beads are on here. Some of them have 108. I'm not sure how many are on here, but I just use them to do like maybe one or two of these to focus on her energy. And after I feel it, I feel her energy with me, I take it and I put it down, and that's when I hold the crystals. And I just, try to hold the crystals and amplify her energy within me and feel her with me and smell her and embrace her energy. And then after I feel her, I talk to her, I pray, I talk about what I feel, what I need, my fears, my doubts, my hopes, my prayers, whatever it may be that day, needing guidance, needing forgiveness, needing whatever I came for. And then I come here. This is the best part. Well, it's all a cool part, but this is the best part for me because this is my favorite. I love cards. I pull out these. Now, anybody that knows about cards knows there's at least 2 Kuan Yin decks. This one is my favorite. I love the pictures on it. I love the images on it. So after I've talked to Kuan Yin and I've talked about my issues, I take these out and I shuffle them and just pull a card or 2 or 3. And typically, well, I'm gonna say every time, she tells me something in the card that I discuss with her in the conversation, in the prayer. And she answers me or guides me or tells me something. And I shuffle them and I pull a card. And the cards look like this. And when you get it, it's just a little message on the bottom, and you have to take the guidebook and look it up in the book to see what the message means. So that's what I'll do a lot of times, and get in touch with Quan Yin's energy to help me. And after I'm done, I take my things and put them back on the altar, the crystal and the statue back on the altar, and put my things away. And I sit and I pull out my journal and I write about what I've learned and how I can incorporate it into my life in a practical way. Because, spiritual practice, especially if you're doing them every day, are really beneficial for you. But they're really useless if they don't help change your life. They're useless if you can't use the energy for your life. So that's one thing that's very important about it, is actually using what you then learned. This was all particularly important to me to do this week. So this week I'm going to be doing this every day, pulling the cards, learning, compassion, asking her, praying. And this was really important to me because, I really think that we need more kindness in our world. And I feel like it starts at home. I don't think any of us are always at our kindest. I know for me, I'm not. And it's mostly when I'm irritated. It's mostly when a human has irritated me or pissed me off or irked me. I'm Aquarius, so you guys know I have a dragon energy, that fire and that air inside of me. And when somebody irked me, it does take a lot to hold that energy back. I'm better at it now than I ever was. But I still have that energy. And those times we're not kind. We're not kind during those times when somebody's pissed us off, somebody's irked us, somebody's been cruel to us, somebody makes us want to choke them. And actually, that's the time when we're supposed to exhibit the most compassion and the most kindness. So when I get into those moments, I either detach and just disconnect from the person and just take my energy back, whoa, hey. Or I try to tap into that place of compassion for them, realizing that something in them is broken, that they're behaving this way. When somebody hurts you, it's not your fault. When somebody hurts you, the only part that's your fault is being around and allowing them to hurt you. Once they've done it, it's get out of Dodge. That's the only part that you're really responsible for, is to get out of Dodge. But the hurting part itself, that's just because they're hurting. That's just because something is wrong with them. And they probably won't admit that to you or anybody else for that matter. But giving back that hurt, giving back that anger, giving back that cruelty is really not the way to go. It's not going to take either of you anywhere. What they really need is compassion. Even if you're not going to deal with them like Kuan Yin with her father, even if you're not going to deal with them, what they really need is compassion. What they really need is forgiveness. Just forgive them. Let it go. Forgive them. And it's not easy. It's not you can just sit down and let it go. That's what this process is for, working with Quan Yin, saying these prayers, holding these crystals. It's not just about having pretty things and looking good for my YouTube video. It's really about tapping into yourself and healing yourself. All of this is for healing. It has no other purpose. If you doing it to be chic or trendy or something like that, is that's not what you want to do. But you want to heal. This is what all this is about. All this is about healing yourself. So so any of you who want to work with kindness, if you want to work with forgiveness, if you want to work with compassion, learn more about the goddess Kuan Yin. Here is the spelling of her name again. Learn more about the goddess Kuan Yin. I got this deck on Amazon.com. It's a very common one, and it's a beautiful one. I know that I showed you one card, but I'm just going to show you a few of them. Whoever did this art, I forgot his name is on here. His or her name is on here. But they did a fabulous job with this art. Look at the back of the card. Just beautiful. I mean, these just, when you look at them, it just makes you feel good. It just puts you in a good mood as soon as you see them. It puts you in a feminine, happy mood, in my opinion. They're just gorgeous. I'll show you two more. You know, this whoever this artist is very talented. I'm a painter, so I know how hard it is to get these images to look exactly how you want them to. So definitely a talented painter. Yeah. So this is the goddess Kuan Yin, and this is her video. My video for her. I hope that some of you are able to use, I hope all of you, any of you are able to use this energy, and I hope that it's helpful to you. And I will definitely be back soon with another edition of Ask an Aquarius. Take care.